The Lost Art with Andrew Cox podcast. Marine Corps League and Till Valhalla Project Ambassador. Now streaming on all major podcast platforms. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast that's given a voice to our veterans. The Lost Art with Andrew Cox. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Podcast, that podcast giving a voice to our veterans. I'm your host, Andrew Cox, and today we're having a veteran story. But before we get into the episode, are you enjoying the podcast? Then make sure you go to the website. That's thelostart.podbean.com. Go check us out, see what we're all about. And there's a couple ways you can help support us. You can go to that website. There's a one-time donation link. You can also become a patron. That's a monthly donation. Heck, you can go get you some cool merchandise. Help spread the message of what we're doing here. And if you have a business or anything like that, you can advertise right here on the podcast. A big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project out there doing some amazing things. If you don't know anything about them, you need to go check them out. If you do know something about them, you need to go back and check them out again because they do have new stuff. So make sure you're going and supporting them as best you can. That's tillvalhallaproject.com. Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps Veteran Service Organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member. All right, we are back. I got our special guest here. This is Chris Shaw. I met him down at the Marine Corps League National Convention, which I had a blast. I don't know if Chris had as much fun as I did, but Chris, how you doing?
Hello, how are you? I'm doing good.
Very nice. Yeah, you had a good flight back, you said. So now, but you're tired because, hey, today's a tough day.
Yeah.
Yeah, laundry day.
Yeah.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Chris, thanks for coming on and doing this, but I guess we'll start at the beginning like we do with everybody. So let's start at the beginning. Where you grew up, what was that like? And then what drew you to military service?
I grew up in Downingtown, Pennsylvania. It's about 45 miles west of Philadelphia.
Okay.
The town I grew up in, very small, blue collar workers in the town, farmers outside the town.
Right.
Outside my homeroom in high school, we had a cow pasture. It was small. And I wanted to see the world. And my family was always in the military, going all the way back to before the Civil War.
Oh, wow.
So just something I wanted to do. I wanted to see the world. And I did.
That's awesome. And now, did you go to all the recruiters, or did you have the Marine Corps in mind? Like, what was your deal?
Well, the Army probably won't like this, but I went to the Army first just to try to get some information, and their recruiter was UA.
Yeah.
AWOL. So, of course, the Marine recruiter was right down the hall. And he saw me and he says, "Hey, I can help you." So that's kind of how it got started.
Very nice. Yeah. Well, what a good branch that you picked, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I may be a little biased, but that's okay. I'll stick with that. All right. Well, talk to me about once you signed up, all that good stuff. Now, how old were you and what year was it?
I was 17. So my mom had to sign for me. My dad really wasn't interested. He really didn't care for me doing that, but he didn't matter. Anyway, so my mom had to sign for me. I was in the delayed entry program for a year. I went to boot camp 2 weeks after I graduated high school.
Oh, wow, that's quick.
Yeah, my summer senior vacation was Parris Island.
It's a good place to have a vacation, I suppose.
Not in August.
Good point. Good point. And what
Uh,
year was it that you joined up there?
when I went to boot camp in 1986.
86. Okay.
So I got there the end of June, and I hadn't experienced heat and humidity like that. So I was in platoon 2074, second battalion.
Very nice. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about your experience once you got there. Young 17-year-old, just out of high school. What was that experience like for you as you started in boot camp?
From the moment I got on the bus, I was like, "Holy crap! What did I get myself into?" Um, but a funny story. Um, some of the other recruits were nervous. Well, I guess we were all nervous, but one in particular, I won't mention his name, but it is a funny story. They gave us the bag nasties at the airport
All
when
right.
we got there, and I guess the bag nasty, the little couple slices of bread, ham, piece of cheese, and some fruit punch. It didn't sit very well in his tummy, and we finally got off the bus, got into the receiving barracks, and our receiving barracks drill instructor was Drill Instructor Sergeant Gibson.
Okay.
Little guy. I had never seen a uniform so crisp, clean, perfect. Boots were immaculate, and the private recruit upchucked, and it went all over his cami trousers and the boots.
Oh
And
my gosh.
of course, you couldn't. We didn't know any better, so of course we laughed. So then we had to clean it up and do push-ups. So we really didn't laugh afterwards, but at
Yeah.
that moment, it was funny.
Holy
And
cow, that is crazy.
yeah, but it was funny for a moment. So we had to learn quick. Uh,
Right. Yeah.
I
Now, could
thought
they could they uh could they punish you at that point because it was receiving?
uh, we did some extracurricular activity. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right. Makes
I
sense.
wouldn't use the P word.
Very nice. Very nice. So, now how long were you with receiving? Was it just like 3 or 4 days?
Uh, 2 or 3 days, and then we got
Two or
enough
three.
people for a platoon, and then we went
Okay.
to second battalion.
Nice. Now tell me about that. When you get there to Second Battalion, they always call that Black Friday now. I don't know what it was back then, but
I don't know what they called it. I know I was just trying to keep my head down and keep moving and doing everything as fast as I could, as best as I could.
yeah.
Uh, and I did it pretty well for 2 weeks before they realized I was there. Uh,
Oh,
um, a handful of us went behind the drill instructor Sergeant Adams. Names you won't forget, yeah.
right.
And when you go behind a drill instructor, you're supposed to say, "By your leave, sir. By your leave, sir." And I did it, but he thought I didn't. So he realized I was in his platoon for the first time, because before I was just one of the people in camouflage.
Right.
But now I was uh, noticed,
Hmm.
although I didn't do anything wrong. And he asked me if I had met his quarter deck yet, and so of course I said, "Sir, no, sir." And he introduced me to the quarter deck, and I was a wet pile of camis after that,
Nice.
because I hadn't been there yet, so it was I got extra instruction.
I love it. Holy cow. Man, that's awesome. So what was your like throughout your boot camp experience, what was your favorite parts and then what were some of the parts that you could live without?
Favorite parts was meeting people from around the country, or from the eastern part of the country.
Yeah.
Um, you know, Favorite part was later on the rifle range. Uh,
Mm,
I forget what it was called. The combat course we did,
right.
the slide for life, that kind of stuff, where we were out
Right.
actually doing something, not necessarily getting bent or
Yeah.
loud instruction.
Right.
Um, I went to church just for the the break you got from getting yelled at.
Yeah, I think most recruits do that. Yeah.
Yeah. I got heat exhaustion when I was in boot camp because I hadn't experienced that heat or that
Yeah.
humidity before. Got done a 3-mile run. You go through they had the misting showers.
Right.
Go through that, and I just kind of like plunked down, fell down. They took me to the BAS, dumped me in a tub of ice water, had an IV in each arm, and I don't recommend that. So just drink water, drink water, drink water.
Wow. That's impressive.
That was probably the worst day, but they had the hog board back then. I don't know if they still have it or not, but
Well, they're not supposed to nowadays.
yeah. Well,
I mean, that might still exist. It's just they're not supposed to.
yeah, my girlfriend at the time, who I didn't marry, that's a different story. But she thought it would be funny to send me pictures of her family's hogs they had on the hog farm.
Oh, no.
So my drill instructor Sergeant Bush, got these, and I paid for it.
Yeah.
So it was. I'm sure you can imagine the vernacular that was used, and
Oh, man.
so it was. I laugh about it now, but at the time it was embarrassing.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, did they hang them up on the hog board?
Oh yes.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
My girlfriend at the time thought it was funny. I didn't at the time.
Yeah. I imagine so. Oh my gosh. So, what was probably the biggest thing that you learned throughout boot camp?
Well, I played in sports before I went in, but teamwork, camaraderie. I learned about the Marine Corps. Learned what it meant to be a Marine. That was the biggest things, I think.
Okay. Very nice. Now, when it was time for graduation, did you get to go home for your boot leave, like 10 days or anything like that?
I did for a few days. I don't remember exactly how many days. That was a while ago.
Yeah.
It might have been a week or so, maybe. And then I had to report to Fort Knox, Kentucky, for my armor crewman training.
Oh, wow. Okay. So Fort Knox, Kentucky.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So, what was that like going on to the Army base after being on? Well, I guess you didn't really get to experience all of Paris Island, but
no. I saw 2nd Battalion. I saw the BAS, the Chow Halls.
Yeah.
But I didn't the rifle range, a few other places, but I didn't get to go any place amazingly nice. But I got to Fort Knox. I got to Fort Knox, and they treated us like we were Marines, not recruits, which was nice. It was funny because, well, I didn't have a car at the time, so they had bus transportation around the base. So you'd be sitting in a bus stop, and an Army specialist or a corporal would be yelling, "Hey, Sergeant," or I'm sorry, "Hey, soldier," and we would just ignore them. And then that would make them even madder. And then they'd come up, and we'd inform him that we were United States Marines, and then he would be fuming and go away. But I got to learn a lot there on the tanks. Not nearly as much as I needed to know. I learned that later on. It was just generally a basic course. It was fun. I got to meet people from all over the country.
Right.
Some people I'm still friends with today.
Oh, very cool.
All when that was 1986, so it's been a while.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed being on the tanks. It was my favorite job in the military.
Yeah. Tell me about the schoolhouse. I mean, how long was it, and what was it kind of like the day to day?
Our barracks number was Delta 11. The barracks is still there, but all the buildings are empty. They moved everything to Georgia, but now we don't have any tanks in the Marine Corps
Right.
anymore. So all those barracks that were brand new that they built are probably empty. So we spent a lot of money on that, and
that's interesting.
But got to go out in town a couple times. There was a movie theater. There was a lot of things to do in our area. Movie theater, PX, arcade, church, swimming pool. There was a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah.
And we had fun, and they treated us like we were Marines, not recruits. So I mean, we were in school, but they gave us some leeway. We had to be the ability to go out and make mistakes. When my son went through armor crewman training, they were treated like they were still in boot camp. Well, he
no
went in
kidding.
the Army. He's in the Army, and
okay.
They weren't given that leeway. We were allowed to go out in town. We were allowed to leave the area. We were treated like we were Marines, adults, which was nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, wow. So, how long was the school again?
8 weeks, I believe.
8 weeks. Okay. So you do your training, and where did you get orders?
I got orders to 2nd Tank Battalion, 2nd Marine Division. Wasn't sure what company I was going to go to. When I got there, they put me in Alpha Company. And I guess I got there December of 86 or January of 87. I don't remember for sure, but it was one of those 2 months. And then I got to learn even more about the vehicles, got to meet more people, being out in the fleet. And we were a very highly deployable unit. So I got to go all over the place, all over the United States, got to go on ship multiple times. Went to Japan, Honduras, was on the USS Saipan multiple times. Fort Pickett, Virginia, went back to Fort Knox once or twice, and we had a good time.
Yeah. So once you got in there and you started, I guess you got into your unit, right? How were you treated? Was it good? Was it bad? And then kind of talk just a little bit of your day to day when you first got there.
Well, our platoon had nicknames for everybody. So I looked younger than I was. So my nickname at the time was Gerber, for Gerber baby.
Yeah.
And so we all had nicknames, and it was good fun. The camaraderie. I wasn't old enough to drink, so I was the designated driver for a year or two. And so I would take them out and about, and they'd buy me dinner. I'd get sodas. Yeah, yay.
And that was at Lejeune, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So now out in town, that you had a lot of fun, I'm assuming, out in town. Back then, I think there was mainly bars, strip clubs, and tattoo parlors. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Walmart was in town at that time. But we had restaurants. We liked going out to eat once in a while. But at the time, I didn't make any money. So I did buy a car. It was a Chevy Chevette. Because it's all I could afford. The car payment was $175 a month.
Wow.
So, I think it was like $5,500 brand new. And that was the first new car I bought.
Wow.
But that got us around.
Yeah.
So it was good. I had a good time, but we would get up and run PT in the morning, come back, get cleaned up, go eat chow, and then report to the tank ramp. That's where we would pull maintenance, clean weapons. That the armor was down there,
Right.
clean weapons, take inventory of stuff, fix stuff. So it was a full day.
So, what was your responsibility in the tank itself?
My first job was a driver,
Okay.
and then I went to gunner later on, and then I was a tank commander after that.
Oh, wow.
I could load, but I just never officially had that position. But
Right.
we had to know, like the gunner and the TC had to know everybody else's position, uh,
Right.
at least. The drive. Sometimes you didn't want everybody to be a driver because back then we had the M60 series tanks. They weren't exactly a comfortable ride. If you had a bad driver, you were going to have a bad day, and it was going to
Yeah.
hurt. So we generally wore our flak jackets, especially the TC, because ribs are sensitive, and if you had a bad driver, your ribs were going to be a little sore.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So you'd you'd also go out to the field, do training ops and stuff out at
Oh
Libya.
yes.
Yeah.
We were out quite often. When we weren't deployed somewhere, we were usually back in the field,
Right.
out doing ops, or we would practice amphibious assaults on Onslow
Mm.
Beach. Training. There was a gunnery range there. We would do gunnery there. It wasn't the biggest or best range, but it was what we had. And if we
Yeah.
wanted to go somewhere else, we went up to Fort Pickett, Virginia.
Oh, I see.
We had more room to maneuver there and more room for gunnery.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Now, you talked about your deployments. Can we talk through kind of your first deployment?
My very first deployment was in 1987. It was Operation Solid Shield. We went
Okay.
down to Honduras. Somebody got the bright idea. Well, we weren't allowed to take the tanks in, but somebody volunteered us to be infantry for the op force. So we were running around through the jungle with our M16s, and I think I'd rather be on the tank. I wasn't too keen
Yeah.
on this infantry stuff. And it was super hot and muggy, and the bugs, but it was something new, exciting, and
Yeah.
I had fun.
Yeah. Now, did you get any downtime when you were doing it?
No,
No
no,
downtime in Honduras.
it was full.
Hmm.
We were in there for a few days at least.
Yeah.
Might have been a week. And the best part of the trip, we came in on a helo,
Hmm.
CH-46, and we landed
Nice.
in the LZ, and we from there we went off into the jungle, and we had a good time. It was interesting. We did our part, but the best part of it, we had to trek back to the beach,
Hmm.
and there was a Navy boat was going to come pick us up. So, of course, in good Marine Corps fashion, we were early. So we got to go swimming a little bit in the Caribbean down there.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And basically, you walk out of the jungle, you had about 20 feet of beach, and there was the water. So
Right.
it was pretty good, and we were early, so we got some downtime for that. Not too much, just enough to get cleaned up and get washed
Yeah.
off and play around in the water a little bit, and then
That's
get out and
awesome.
get our stuff back together. And then the boat showed up, so
Right.
we did have a little bit.
Yeah. Now, and that was you guys were going there specifically for that, so it wasn't like a float or
Yeah.
anything. Yeah.
Well, yes, correct.
Okay. So at that point, and you said it was about a month. How long did you say?
We were on ship for maybe 2 weeks.
Okay.
Got down there. We were there for about a week, I think, and then like a week or two to get back up
Okay.
to Camp Lejeune. But that's when the USS Stark got hit, and
Mm,
so they weren't sure if they were going to send us over there because they had everything on the ships,
right.
and so we were wondering if we were going to go, and then we didn't.
Hmm. Wow. Now, what was your experience like on ship? This your first time on ship. How was that a good experience?
It was. Uh, I got I got stuck on KP, so that
Oh,
so
that's always fun.
yeah. I was actually in the wardroom. I was basically bringing the officers lunches, breakfast, and dinners out, and I was like the waiter.
Oh,
And
okay.
so I got to eat the same things they ate, so that was pretty good.
Oh, yeah, that's
Um,
not too shabby then.
yeah, and so that worked out pretty good. And when my guys from my platoon, they were down in the well deck, and I would sneak them. I grab a bag of muffins or whatever, and I would take them down to the guys that were down in the well deck. So
Right.
they certainly enjoyed that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So once you got back to Lejeune, by this time, like you a Lance Corporal? Like what rank are we
Yes,
looking at here?
I
Yeah,
I
Lance
I
Corporal.
I was a lance corporal then. Uh,
Okay.
I had I had enlisted in the QEP program, the Quality Enlistment Program.
Okay.
Um, you had to score a certain amount on the ASVAB, and you were guaranteed corporal after so much time.
Wow. Okay.
But it happened, and when I did get promoted, I'm like, man, I don't think I know enough yet. And
It's
so
a little too
well,
quick.
so I busted my butt and I learned, and some of the older lance corporals were not very appreciative of that. Uh,
Yeah.
but but to their credit, they helped me. I learned a lot from them, and
Hmm.
so I owe them quite a bit.
Yeah. Now, how long was it? It was like 2 years to pick up corporal. Is that what it was? Something like that?
No, it was less than that. And my wife
Oh,
still
really?
mad at
Wow.
me about that because she was in the Marine Corps too.
Yeah.
So I picked up corporal at 11 months,
Oh, wow. Okay.
and she says because they made a clerical error, and my wife was admin in the Marine Corps,
Yeah.
so she actually knows, but I still don't let her get away with it. I just tell her that they knew excellence when they saw it.
Keep telling. I just piss excellence.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that
yeah.
Ricky Bobby said that?
It doesn't work though, but I still
No,
keep
nah.
trying.
One day you'll get it over on her. It'll be
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, talk to me a little bit like as you're moving forward in your career, kind of what's happening at this point.
Um, well, I met my wife around the same time as my first deployment.
Okay.
We got married about a year or so later. So we dated for a while, and we just kept deploying, kept training, kept working.
Yeah.
Uh, went to Fort Pickett, went to 29 Palms multiple times. Uh, Never realized or hoped I would be deployed, or not deployed, but stationed at 29 Palms. But uh, I spent some years at Camp Lejeune, and then my wife
So,
got orders to Hawaii,
ooh,
and I couldn't go to Hawaii because there was no tanks.
right,
And I was like, look, I'll do whatever you want me to do. I'll transfer to whatever MOS you want me to transfer to.
right.
I'll do whatever you want. And they're like, no, we're not doing that. So we wound up going to 29 Palms because they had tanks. And she loved it there because she
Yeah.
was at the communication school. She was admin there.
Oh, okay.
So she had 3 meals a day, air conditioning and heat. I
Yeah.
can't say I had all of that at 29 Palms on any given day. You
Well,
know,
you're out there in the desert in the middle of the heat and all that type of stuff. You're out there working on the tanks and doing everything.
yeah,
So, yeah, I can imagine it'd be not the same.
yeah, yeah. It did get a bit hot out there.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Now, do you know if they're still in the same or they were in the same place? So their tanks battalion, they had the grinder right there.
Yep,
I guess right was that main kind of the main drag there on the right
yep.
as you're going out.
The tank battalion was on the right side of the main drag. When you go down a
Yeah,
bit, you go down past Lake Bandini.
yeah.
We were just out there last year for the Marine Corps League had its national convention out there in California. We made a
Hmm.
day trip to the base. Uh,
Nice,
so she got to see where she used to work. I got to see where I used to work. Some friends of mine that are in the Marine Corps League, they were there in the early 1960s. So
oh
they got
wow,
to see the places that they were see the big difference in the places.
yeah,
Um, Huge PX compared to what
oh
I
yeah.
was compared to what I remembered. But there, of course, there were no tanks there anymore. It was all gone.
Now, did
But
they tear down the buildings and everything there, or
no, the buildings were still there. The tank ramp was still there. Uh, didn't go past that. Didn't go out to Camp Wilson.
right?
Didn't go out that far. But got to see them. The movie theater was there. The pool was there. When I was section leader there, I used to take my guys to the pool once in a while for PT instead
Nice,
of just running like a nut once in a while because sometimes that kind of got boring if you just ran. So
absolutely.
I would try to break it up to uh, make it a little different, fun. You spend a day in a pool, you're still working, you're still using your muscles and everything,
Hmm.
but it's just something different and to try to keep it fun.
Yeah. So the running you were talking about, because I remember being out there and our PFT course was out by Lake Bandini.
Oh,
And
around the lake, yeah,
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 oh my God, that was so bad because I mean, you'd hit it, the smell, and then you finally run out of it. And then
yeah,
all of a sudden you come back on the other side and it smacks you in the face again.
yeah. It was unfortunately it's the only flat spot
Yeah, that's
out there.
true.
Yeah,
And you
and
would think it's a desert, there'd be more than one flat spot, but nope, that
yeah,
was it.
no, it was no, it's I think they did it on purpose.
Oh yeah, they had to. They were like, we're
Yeah,
gonna make sure everybody that comes to 29 Palms has something in common.
yeah,
So yeah.
and they had a golf course there, so uh,
Hmm.
myself and my wingman and his gunner and my gunner, we'd go out golfing once in a while, so that was fun
Very nice.
because it really wasn't at that time. There really wasn't much to do at 29 Palms.
Hmm.
There was a drive-in movie theater which my wife and I went to from time to time. Uh,
Hmm.
I'm not. I think it's still there. I'm not 100%
Oh,
sure though.
I don't know. Now, did y'all live on base?
Uh, we lived off base for a
Okay.
little bit, which our houses that we lived in is still there. We saw that,
Oh, no kidding.
and
Wow.
on Juanita Drive, it was right across from the Del Taco on the
Oh, okay.
highway. So we ate the same Del Taco as there. So we ate there multiple times. And then our house on base was still there. It was in the newer section. Uh,
Yeah.
if you come on base and you go to the right, uh,
Uh-huh.
there's base housing over there, and they were still there. So
Very
that was
cool.
one of our places to see.
Yeah. Most people say they hate 29 Palms. I didn't actually hate it, but it definitely wasn't my favorite place to be.
No, no. Uh, Said it was so hot and then dusty and dirty, and you had to sweep the tank ramp every day. So that was. But then we got deployed to um, Desert Shield, Desert Storm.
Oh, okay.
And I was tank commander during Desert Storm.
Oh, well, let's talk a little bit about that if you don't mind.
Okay.
Like when did you find out that like you were going and then what was the timeline and kind of walk us into the war?
My wife and I were. I said how we got transferred to 29 Palms.
Hmm.
This was after Desert Shield had started, so we got to 29 Palms, and almost all the battalion was gone.
Oh, wow.
So we got there, and a week or two later, I got sent to Saudi Arabia.
Oh,
So we
wow. That
so
was
we we
quick.
we got settled in a place, and then there was a rear party there at 29 Palms for third tanks,
Uh-huh.
and then I basically got some equipment, got on a plane at Norton Air Force Base, and then flew over there. And I guess I got over there uh, early November.
Okay.
Yeah,
So, but they hadn't pushed up at that point. They were
correct.
still, yeah.
They
Okay.
they they were still in the process of building up.
Okay.
I think we had like 500,000 troops over there
Wow.
total, not
Yeah.
just.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Now, you said you were a tank commander when you were
yes,
over there, correct? So,
yes.
so you're walking in the door. What rank were you when you walked in the door there?
I was a sergeant.
A sergeant. And
Yeah.
then was that the norm, a sergeant being a tank commander?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, I was a tank commander when I was a corporal,
Oh,
uh,
wow. Okay.
and I had a lot of learning to do real quick. So I just stayed at it and stayed on it, and
Right.
I like to think I was good at it.
Yeah. 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 I think I say you were, Yeah.
And the it was different because when I got to third tanks, I didn't know anybody except one person,
Right.
and he was in a different company.
Hmm.
Because I'd spent all those years with Alpha Company. I knew everybody. I knew where I could go to get stuff done. I knew who I could talk to about stuff.
Right.
I got to this new company or new battalion, and I didn't know anybody. I mean, it was not that it was culture shock. I just felt kind of behind the eight ball a little bit
Right.
because I didn't know who to talk to. Like when I was at Alpha Company, I knew who I could rely on. I knew who I could trust.
Hmm.
And now you want me to go potentially into combat, and I don't know anybody. So
Yeah, that had to have been a little nerve-wracking though.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
But I wound up being on uh, Hotel 5-2. That was
Okay.
so I was the battalion commander's wingman.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I had the same radios he had, so it was my job to pretty much keep my tank between him and the bad guys. And if
Yeah.
his tank broke down, he was supposed to change with me, and he would take my tank and keep going, and I would try to get his tank fixed.
Oh, wow.
That way he could keep up with the battalion.
Hmm.
Um,
Wow. That's
uh,
pretty incredible. So talk to me through like were you guys doing training for a while before you took off? Like what did that look like?
well, to get acclimated with the crew, we did gunnery. We did practice gunnery with the machine guns, the main gun.
Hmm.
We would go out and do maneuvers because maybe I had a way of saying something that might be new to them. So we
Right.
tried to get used to one another, and we had a diverse crew. One person was from Oregon. He was my driver. My loader was from the Montana. He was a Native American,
Okay.
and my gunner, I believe he was from California, and I was from Pennsylvania. So we were from all the corners of the country, and
Yeah.
somehow we didn't kill one another.
I'm assuming you gelled pretty good with them though.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
was
I thought we got along pretty well. I mean, any family has their little
well,
arguments here and
yeah,
there, but
absolutely.
we got along well. We were with each other 24/7 for
Kind of had to.
a few months. So,
Yeah.
but we played cards. That was back when they had Walkmans. So
Oh yeah.
we would listen to music. One of my guys somehow he got a boom box over
Oh,
there.
wow.
So we had a boom box inside the tank, and we would listen to we would listen to Armed Forces radio. We would listen to sports.
Right.
So we had a good team.
Wow. Now, could you hear the radio when the tank was running?
If you took comm wire and plugged it into the radio, yes, yes,
Very well.
yeah. But you had to turn it off when you were keying your CVC to like
Oh, yeah.
call out, because if you did that the wrong way, somebody would hear you listening to AC/DC or Led Zeppelin, and you
Right.
probably didn't want to have that happen.
That's understandable, I suppose.
Yeah.
Oh man. So talk to me about, because you did the push moving forward, going across the berm. So what was that like for you?
Well, before the ground war started, our battalion commander, Buster Diggs, came over and said, "Watch the skies tonight. There's going to be some fireworks."
Mm,
And so I got up. I heard this loud noise up above us, and you could see the B-52s and all their little escorts. They were all heading north. And
yeah,
I'm like, oh, crap, it's kicking off. He knew, but he couldn't tell us. Uh,
right.
um, so we were basically told, if you had any letters, addresses, any of that kind of stuff, destroy it.
Oh wow.
God forbid, we didn't know what was going to happen. So you
Hmm.
didn't want anybody getting your family's address or
Right.
that kind of stuff. So we had to get rid of all that stuff. And then we kept moving farther to the west a little bit and moving north to try to get in our final position.
Hmm.
And once it started, we were heading north, and Colonel Diggs said there was only one way home, and it was north. And he was right. So we did what we had to do, and uh, uh, we crossed a couple minefields, and we were in between the minefields. And every once in a while in a tank, you have to stop and check your track, check your oils,
Right.
because you just can't keep going and going and going. It's like your car; you got to check on it.
Right.
So we had stopped and checked the oils and checking the track, and the Iraqis were lobbing artillery on us at that time,
Oh
and
no.
and my gunner was outside taking a leak. So
Yeah.
you could hear the impact, and then you could feel them. You could feel
Hmm.
you could feel it on your body. The
Like the concussion of it,
Yeah,
the explosion. Yeah.
they weren't exactly right on top of us, but they were close enough. And so you get in the tank, you make sure everybody's in position. You ask for
Hmm.
positions, make sure they're up. And my gunner, I looked down, he wasn't in front of me. So I'm like, well, where the heck is he? So here he was outside urinating. He couldn't cut it off. I'm like, get your butt in here. So he dribbled up the side of the tank, so to get him in the tank. And so that
Oh
was
wow.
that was a bit interesting. And he got in position, and we started moving out again. And then
Oh man.
um,
Now
we
you
we did
crossed the oil fields and saw all the burning oil fields and stuff as well.
yeah, we went right
Yeah.
through it. We were under it. We took some casualties.
Mm.
The tank in front of us was hit with an artillery shell
Oh wow.
from Delta Tracks Company.
Hmm.
It was a lieutenant from Delta Tracks. I don't remember his name. It's been quite a while.
Right.
But he wasn't hurt. He was hurt, but he just got some shrapnel in the back of his arm,
Right.
and so he was medevaced out.
Oh wow.
And then we got that taken care of, and we kept moving forward.
Hmm.
And we saw some. I'm not going to say we were. The guys in World War II, Vietnam, that kind of stuff, they saw way more
Right.
action than we did, because our war was only a few days, thankfully. But
Yeah.
but we did what we were told to do, and I think we did it well.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Very cool. Was there anything else as far as the push up that you wanted to talk about, or the retrograde back?
Um, well, we moved up to outside Kuwait City, and there
Hmm.
was this extremely huge berm. Well, before that, when we were driving through the minefields, they had put the Miklik charge out. The it was about 1,800 pounds of C4, and it blew up a path through the minefield. And then they
Yeah.
had the mine plow tank go through and clear the path. But when you're driving through the minefield, the Iraqis buried the mines. Well, the wind blows in the desert, so you can
Yeah.
actually like look out the hatch and you can see the mines on on the left of you and to the right of you. And I'm like, holy crap, I'm driving through a minefield here. And it was eye opening.
Yeah.
And uh, so every once in a while, we would have to stop and wait for the artillery to catch up and refuel.
Mm.
So we would refuel while because we would move past where the artillery could reach out in front of us.
Right.
And then we would stop, sit in, wait for them to catch up. We refuel, rearm, do
Hmm.
what we had to do for them to catch up and get in position again, so they could reach out in front of us.
Hmm.
And we called in air, and our battalion commander on his tank, he had the FAC and the FO over there,
Okay.
the forward air controller and
Hmm.
the artillery controller, and uh, so I could hear everything they were talking about because I had the same radios.
Wow.
And but and we
Well,
drove through the
that gives you a different perspective on everything that you're doing as well.
yes,
Hearing the command, and as they're talking about the everything that's going on, it's definitely a different beast, I think.
because I like the battalion commander would talk to the company commanders of what was going on, and I could hear all that on my tank.
Yeah.
Where if I was in a regular tank platoon, or I wouldn't have known any of that stuff. I wouldn't have heard any of that stuff.
Yeah.
But we would move up, and then at night we would set in, wait for the artillery to catch up, and we would turn our
Hmm.
engines off.
Okay.
And then you could hear it's noise travels in the desert. Uh,
Hmm.
you could hear, like one instance, we heard a tank engine start up right to our direct front. And
Whoa.
so that alerted everybody because when we parked, not parked, but when we set in for the waiting for them to catch up, we didn't see anything.
Wow.
And there was a tank buried in they had dug a dugout
Oh,
for it, and it was down in the hole. So
yeah.
we couldn't see it, but we heard the tank engine start up, and we were on the M60 series tanks, so we had starlight,
Hmm.
or passive sights. We didn't have any thermal imaging.
Right.
We weren't in the M1s yet, uh, so we knew there was something to our front. So you had an M60 tank, a tow jeep, an M60 tank, a tow jeep, because the tow jeeps had the thermal imaging for their tow missile system.
All right. Yeah.
So we could hear the tank, but we knew it was somewhere to our front. We couldn't see it, but the tow gunners could see it. And they reported that to the battalion commander, and battalion commander said, take them out. And when the tow missile hit, it lit up the whole world out there.
Oh,
And
wow.
so then we were just waiting to see if there was anybody else, and nobody else showed up.
Hmm.
And then the same thing happened a night or two later, but it was a tank company coming towards us, and they stopped short of our position. They didn't see us, but we could hear them, and the tow gunners could see them. So
Right.
our battalion commander sent an interpreter out, and he came back and basically said that they weren't going to surrender, that we could blankety blank off. And
Wow.
so our battalion commander said to the tow company commander, you got him? He said, yes, sir, I got him. And once they engaged, they lit up the whole place, and then the tanks could see what was going on. So then we engaged because we could
Oh,
see
man.
now. And
Yeah.
so that tank company, the Iraqi tank company, they weren't around too much longer after that.
Wow. Man, you know what? I to be a young Marine and to be able to engage with tank on tank, uh that's got to be I don't know, it's a once in a lifetime type of deal, I would think.
Well, it uh it was pretty damn scary because
Yeah.
I never had anybody shooting at me before,
Uh-huh.
not like that, and it was uh, something a new experience. I hope I never have to do it again.
Right.
And
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
but we trained hard and we were good at what we did, so
Hmm.
it went well for us. Didn't go too well for them,
Right.
and
Yeah.
which is was fine with us.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, yeah, absolutely.
and
It's good
then
for us,
yeah, and after that we moved up to outside Kuwait City,
Hmm.
uh, and there was a huge berm just south of the city, and behind that berm they had bunkers that were across the front and in depth. And we were receiving small arms fire. So we had the dismounted infantry on top of the berm with Mark 19s, machine guns, and they were
Right.
returning fire. Uh, and the berm was so big, if a tank went over it, it would show its belly, which is like one of the weakest
Wow.
spots. And because it would go up and up and up and then slam down on the other
Right.
side.
Oh
And
my gosh.
you don't want to give them like an easy shot. So
Right.
they while the infantry was suppressing, and we the tanks started to go over after they suppressed for a while, and
Hmm.
it was a hard landing on the other side. So you had to traverse your turret, the gun, to one side or the other, because if
Uh-huh.
it was out to the front, it
Oh,
would
it'd
have
go
it,
in.
it, it would have got buried into the sand. So
Right.
you had to traverse your gun over, so you weren't burying your gun tube in the sand.
Wow.
So you couldn't even shoot at the enemy if you were on the way down, and it would take you time to bring your gun tube back. Uh,
Uh-huh.
so, and then we moved up, got through all that, and we were just sitting outside Kuwait City, and we would do foot patrols like into the outside edge of the city just to make sure there
Hmm.
was nobody there uh, that shouldn't have been there.
Right. Yeah. Wow. That the whole thing you're talking about slamming back down, a tank is not a light piece of gear.
Well,
So it coming down has got to be jarring to everything.
everything's pretty much metal on the
Yeah.
inside, so when you hit it, it's going to hurt. And
Hmm.
there's no seat belts.
Oh, jeez.
That's when having a good driver really helps out. And
Yeah.
Lance Corporal Brown was my driver. He was pretty good at his job, but there was no way that wasn't going to jar you. And we had some
Yeah.
stuff. We generally in a tank you try to keep everything secure as you can, because you don't want anything flopping around in there, because
Yeah.
something could get caught in the turret. And we hit so hard, some stuff came unloose, and we had to put it back together. And but
Oh,
that was
jeez.
after we got moving, and our loader was down there picking up stuff, and we were just hoping there wasn't somebody else that was going to engage us.
Right. Well, with all the stuff in there that would get loose, did anybody actually get hurt from that?
No, no.
Okay.
But we had the main gun rounds. You had first aid
Hmm.
kits, pistols, which were in our holsters, but we had an M16 and its holder. My
Right.
my loader was a maintenance man, because we had to keep a maintenance man on our tank just in case the battalion commander's tank went down. That way, the
Mm.
maintenance man could be there to fix one of the vehicles. Uh,
Right.
so I had myself, my gunner, and my driver were all tankers. My loader was a maintenance man,
Huh.
Lance Corporal Pipe. That was his name.
Pipe. Okay.
Pipe.
Very nice. All right. So then you get over the berm, and then what's the like? Where are you going? What's the mission?
Well, we get through the bunkers and light them up here and there.
Mm-hmm.
And then a couple of times we set in one time we sat in just outside Kuwait City, and I got a nice picture of the sign that says Kuwait City. And then there were some bunkers there that the infantry had to clear. And my wingman, he wanted to go into one of the bunkers, and I'm like, yeah, I'd rather not, but we did. And we were out there playing GI Joe, I guess.
Right. Right. Yeah.
We probably looked horrible at it, but we thought we were cool. I'm sure we were not perfect in our technique. Let's put it that way.
Right. Right. Good thing there were no cameras watching you and taking photos and stuff. Yeah.
No, I can talk about it, but I'm sure if it was on video, we'd probably look pretty bad. Well, if the bunkers were right right next to where we had set in, and we had to make sure nobody was in there because you had to make sure the area was clear. But speaking of that, prior to that, we I think it was day 2. We had set into an area, and there were some Iraqis in a hole. And we had a couple Cobras come down. They wanted to get a face-to-face with our battalion commander to go over some stuff. And the Cobra pilots were walking towards us, and I guess they didn't see the Iraqis when they walked by them. Well, they came up out of the hole between the Cobras and the pilots. And
whoa,
these pilots were like, why are all these Marines running at us? Well, we're yelling at them to get down, get down, get down. And they turn around, there's Iraqis behind them. And see, I'm remembering all this stuff now that I'm talking about it.
Yeah, no, that's good. This is good.
So they got down, and we thankfully the Iraqis, they wanted to surrender, and they found out we were Marines, and they were terrified.
Yeah.
They were told to be an NCO in the Marine Corps, you had to kill a family member, and
right.
So they were scared to death. But we wound up, we gave them food and water because they were starving and thirsty.
Yeah.
And so they appreciated that, and of course we didn't hurt them. So that was. But when they heard we were the Marines, I thought they were going to crap their pants.
Well, I can't believe that the pilots didn't crap their pants seeing them running.
Well, I wouldn't. Well, I didn't ask them, but I imagine they probably did, because they turned around and there was about 6 Iraqis standing behind them. And we were yelling at them to get down, get down, get down, and we were all running towards them with our M16s, and they were they didn't know what was going on for a moment. And,
oh my word,
that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And then, to finish up there, we got just up outside Kuwait City, and we were doing foot patrols, and basically we were, our NBC alarm went off multiple times. We had one of those, those Fox vehicles with us. I guess
I'm not sure what that is.
An NBC sniffer vehicle. So it had sensors on it, and it would detect if there was anything in the area. So its alarm went off multiple times, and they kept telling us all clear, all clear. Well, we didn't really trust them too much. So we kept our masks pretty close.
Yeah.
So I don't know why the thing went off multiple times, but
I was just thinking, like, because I never heard that there was actual anything that, like, chemical agents or anything like that was used that I'm aware of. Maybe I overlooked it somehow, but
I from what I gather, after the years later, found out that some places that were storing chemicals were hit.
I see.
And I believe some of the wind and all that brought it down to the south. But I don't know if that's why it went off, or if it was a dead camel laying around somewhere, which we ran into a few times, and they didn't smell too good. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Man. That would be a little nerve-wracking though, I think.
Yeah. So, I mean, well, we trained with the mask every day. We were practicing with it, trying to get it on as fast as you could.
Right.
But in the tank gas mask, you didn't have a drinking tube. So you could hook like the infantry had a drinking tube. So
Right.
at least the infantry or somebody had that type of mask could drink, but
Uh-huh.
we could hook our mask into the MBC or the gas particulator system, so you could get like fresh air into your mask. So so you had a canister and you could put the hose on the back of the canister, so you got fresh air. You couldn't
Okay.
drink with it, but at least you got fresh air.
Right. Yeah. Now, I've never been in a tank, so I don't know this. What are there lots of fumes in a tank?
Uh, there can be,
Okay.
but you're wearing a CVC helmet,
Mm-hmm.
and so the noise is really reduced. Like when from the tank engine, the tracks.
Right.
I mean, you after a while you learn to listen for the sounds. Uh, so the when the main gun goes off, the sound is reduced. That's why, well, a lot of tankers now have hearing aids. So,
Yeah.
but it's reduced wearing that, and the fumes from when you're shooting the guns, you have that smell.
Right.
It
But not like a burning of gas or anything like that.
no,
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, if you had an engine leak or something, that would be in the back. You really wouldn't. That really didn't happen too much for us.
Okay.
I imagine somebody somewhere might have had that leak in diesel, but
Yeah.
we really didn't have that on our tank. Our maintenance guy was pretty good about keeping up with stuff.
Very nice. Wow. All right. Well, hey, you're doing good, man. Tell me some more stories. Here we go.
Well, we were sitting outside Kuwait City, and we didn't know what day was going to be the end. So we were sitting there eating chow, and we were saying to ourselves, if we don't go finish this God's honest truth, our kids might have to come back here and finish this. And
Wow.
that's what we discussed, because I guess that was after the ceasefire, but we were
Right.
still sitting outside Kuwait City, and we felt we didn't finish the job.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like we got here and we didn't get to finish.
Yeah.
Maybe if we had, things might have been different
Mm-hmm.
in the long run, but you can't really predict that. But
Yeah. True.
things might have turned out differently the last 25 years if things were done differently back then.
Yeah. But I mean, it's pretty interesting that you guys were thinking that, like, hey, if we don't do it, our children are going to be back here,
Yeah,
and that actually happens. I mean, that's
yeah,
what is a
and
prophetic, uh, good prophecy. Yeah, you're a
well,
prophet, didn't know it.
we just felt like, well, I don't want to use the term half-assed, but we just felt like we didn't finish the job.
Yeah, yeah,
And
absolutely.
so then we got done up there, and because we were in the older tanks, we didn't have those big fancy M1s
Right.
yet. I think some in the Marine Corps had them, but we didn't have them yet. And
Mm-hmm.
so we had to road march back towards Saudi Arabia, and we got to the border, and there was like a toll booth, like you might see on a turnpike,
Okay.
and they had the toll booth guys. They were like Saudi security forces,
Uh-huh.
and we went through Kafji. When
Okay.
uh, so we when that happened, when the Iraqis came down to Kafji and they took
Uh-huh.
part of that town for a little while, we were just to the west of that, and we didn't participate in that, but we got to see that town when we come back through it. And but before, when we were at the toll booths, the security forces didn't want to let us in to Saudi Arabia. So our battalion commander, we had 70 tanks and tow jeeps and AAVs and infantry, and
Yeah.
we pretty much had task force. I was with Task Force Ripper, so
Oh, okay.
Task Force Ripper was at the door, and we wanted to head home, and we had to drive south to get back there. They didn't want to let us in, so our battalion commander and the interpreter went up and basically told them, "You're going to let us in, or else." And they decided to let us in. So we drove through, and we got back to Saudi Arabia. But when we were in Kuwait City, we drove through the city on our way back just to, I don't know, I guess show a force or something, and
Right.
all the kids and everybody was lined up along the side of the roads, and they were cheering and they were happy. And we were throwing I guess we were throwing the kids our gum and our M&Ms and that kind of stuff. That felt pretty good. And but we got back to Saudi Arabia, and because I showed up late because of my orders, I got stuck on rear party, which was fine because those guys got there before me, so I had to stay an extra month. There on,
and you were just loading up tanks and stuff like that.
Yeah, we were cleaning up stuff, getting stuff ready to go back to the States. So I got to drive a bunch of different vehicles that I hadn't driven before in the Marine Corps. So which was fun. There was a swimming pool there at the place we were at.
Oh, nice.
And, they had a chow hall, and I got to drive all kinds of trucks and armored vehicles and things that I didn't normally drive. So that was fun. Of course, I wasn't sure how to drive them when I got in them, but I figured it out, and it was fun. I enjoyed that part. Just driving the different vehicles. But years later, I was in Washington, D.C. at a Memorial Day parade. And and it was the 25th anniversary of Desert Storm. And the Kuwaitis had a float there in the parade, and they were thanking the veterans. And one of the kids, well, he wasn't a kid then. Well, he was a kid back then, but he wasn't then. And he's, I grew up a Kuwaiti because of you. And that felt pretty good.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of times we don't get to see the full effect of, our fruits of our labor, if you will,
Yeah. And they were very appreciative. They were very thankful, and they got to keep their country.
Right.
And I think some people forgot that.
Yeah. So job well done, in my opinion,
Well, I thought we had good leadership. My bosses were all Vietnam veterans. All my senior staff NCOs, all my senior officers were all Vietnam veterans.
Yeah.
They had been down that road before, and they learned some lessons, and they didn't repeat them.
Yeah. Now, did you know I interviewed Mike Fallon? He was with, I think, a LAV battalion. He was the commander at some point, or he might have been a company commander at that time. I can't remember. But he was a Vietnam vet.
That name doesn't sound too familiar.
Okay.
I don't think I know him. The only guys on LAVs I knew, I got TAD to Pendleton for to learn how to use the mine plow and the line charge. Funny, I would need that like a year later, that info. And so I met some of them, and they had been down in Operation Just Cause. No, it's
Okay.
not. That wasn't Just Cause. I get the one down in Panama. I don't that. I think it was
Mm,
Just Cause.
yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
really
been
know.
so long. But they were down there, and I got to meet them and hang out with them when we were out at Pendleton.
Right.
It was a good time.
Yeah. And that was before, or no, that was after you got back when
Oh,
you were
that
with those
was,
guys.
I guess that was before Desert Storm.
Okay.
So that's the only guys on LAVs I ever got to meet
Okay.
that
Gotcha.
at that time. Um, but we
Wow.
got back to Saudi Arabia, and I was on rear party, and um, my my friend that was on rear party with me, Sergeant Cunningham. Uh, we had borrowed a Humvee, ha
Hmm.
ha, and went and found a phone
Uh,
because we didn't have cell phones back then. You didn't have these
that's right.
laptops where you could talk to people. So you had letters, and it was. I was probably with the technology. I was probably closer to a World War II veteran than the veterans from the uh, war on terrorism. Because I mean, we
Yeah,
wrote
that's
letters.
true.
We
Yeah.
wrote letters. We didn't have laptops or cell phones or
Hmm.
Skype or whatever. All that podcast didn't exist back then.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I wanted to get to a phone, and he wanted to get to a phone. So we found a bunch of phone booths, and we called home, let them know we were okay. And
Hmm.
of course, I didn't have any money on me, so I called collect. And my grandfather was a Navy veteran. He always busted my stones because I went in the Marine Corps, but
Yeah.
it was good fun. And I called him collect. So he harped on me for that for a while. I'm glad you're okay, but don't call me collect.
I wonder if like how much that phone bill was back then. Uh,
I don't know, but I'm sure it wasn't cheap for that time.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was a 5 minute phone call just to let him know I was okay. And so then he called my mom, who worked at Pepperidge Farm. Uh,
Uh-huh.
she worked there for 37 years.
Oh wow.
And so they called her at work. So her the plant manager, whatever, got the phone call and called her up off the floor. She thought she was in trouble or something. So he gave her the good news that I was okay. So she
That's
she
awesome.
she felt pretty good about that.
Wow. Now, and you said you stayed an extra month before
Yep.
you started coming back home. And how did you travel back home? Back on ship?
Oh, no. We got on an Air Force Uber plane
Oh, okay.
and flew to Italy. Uh,
Okay.
no, I'm sorry. We flew to Spain. We stopped at Italy on the way over, uh,
Okay.
and they wouldn't let us off the plane in Italy. And I smoked back then, and I really needed a cigarette, but they wouldn't let us off the plane. Well, we were all in camouflage and we were armed, so
Yeah.
it kind of a dead giveaway to figure out where we were going. But on the way back, we stopped at an Air Force base in Spain, and I hadn't seen a glass, like a glass to drink out of. They were all
Uh-huh.
plastic, or we drank out of a warm canteen.
Right.
Uh, I didn't see a china plate or silverware. And we got to the chow hall. They let us get off the base there in Spain, or off the plane there at the base, and we had food. And I'm just sitting there looking at my plate because I hadn't seen a real plate for months. And I'm like, man, and it was good food. I was so if uh, the, the Air Force does have the Marine Corps beat in one respect. They have better food.
That is a true statement. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and
speaking
then
of food, I gotta ask you this. The second tank, or I'm sorry, the tanks battalion there at 29 Palms, they had a chow hall there, and we always went to the tank battalion chow hall because it was so good. It was
Yeah.
way better than any other chow hall there.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, well, then I bet I was married and we lived in base housing. So I think it caught when I ate at the chow hall, I think it cost me like $1 for like
Hmm.
breakfast and lunch. So it was cheaper to eat there than it
Yeah,
was to go grab something at the PX.
right.
So, for, you know, $10 a week, you got breakfast and lunch. In
Which is
fact,
awesome.
I think it was like 80 some cents for breakfast and like $1 for lunch. So,
Wow.
and well, of course, back then it was $2.50 for a haircut, because you had to get a haircut once a week, whether you needed it or not. And at Second
Wow.
Tanks, at Second Tanks, there was right across from our barracks there was a little PX, and it had
Uh-huh.
like a little snack shack and a hair cuttery place in it,
Yeah.
a barber shop. And there were 3 barbers that worked in there. And the one guy, I mean, I know what it is now. He had Parkinson's, so his
Oh
hand was
yeah.
big. So but we didn't know what it was back then. We called him Shaky Jake, but that was the guy. That was the guy you didn't want to have cut your hair.
Right.
But sometimes you were in a rush and you didn't have a choice, because the other 2 barbers were pretty good, but
Yeah.
sometimes your luck of the draw was getting Shaky Jake.
Yeah. You
Uh,
get the you
he's,
get this
he's
going for the
oh
fade.
yeah, it would be bad. And well, how much do you expect for a $2.50 haircut?
Yeah, there's that. Yeah, yeah. That's a good point.
But I ate in the chow hall out there when I could, when it was
Yeah,
more convenient and cheaper for me to eat there.
absolutely. Yeah.
And the food was pretty good too.
Yeah, I like I said when I was there, of course it was in 99 when I was there, and it man, that was a good chow hall. The
Yeah.
only chow hall I ever found better than that was, like you said, an Air Force chow hall. It was the only
Oh
other
yeah,
time.
they had great food. I mean, it wasn't lobster and T-bone, but it was pretty
Right.
good. Yeah. At least I knew what it was on the plate.
That's yeah.
Yeah.
I've been places where you definitely don't know.
Yeah. Well, I was stationed at Camp Fuji, and we get hamburgers with hot dog rolls. And
Uh-huh.
then the next week we'd have hot dogs with hamburger rolls, or you're looking at it and you're like, oh, what is this? But my favorite meal was chili mac. I
Mm,
I I don't know. I've tried to make it the same way they do. I don't know what additives they put in their chili mac back then, but
yeah.
I thought that was pretty good.
Huh. Well, we'll have to find a recipe for it. Yeah. I'll look out for one. If I find one,
Yeah.
I'll send it to you.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. So when you got back, did you get to go on any of the parades or anything like that? Because I know they had ticker tape parades and all kinds of stuff that was happening.
They had a parade at 29 Palms.
Okay.
Um, I made it for that, but because I was on rear party for a month,
Hmm.
and my wife met me at the bus when we pulled in, because they told her when we were getting there,
Right.
because I didn't know when we were getting there, but when I was when I was in Saudi Arabia, the lieutenant they left on rear party came over and said, Sergeant Shaw, Sergeant Cunningham, pack your trash. We're getting on the plane first thing in the morning to head home. And the next day was April 1st. So I, th-
No.
so I thought he was pulling a funny. And I'm like, sir, you're not going to get me with that. All due respect, sir, you're full of crap. That's, don't play that. And
Yeah.
and Sergeant Cunningham was getting on him a little bit. He said, "You two dumbass sergeants, get your crap packed, or you're staying here." So we packed our crap, and we got on a plane the next day. He was right. He wasn't messing with us, and so that. But at that moment, it was like, "Sir, you're full of crap."
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
that's the perfect time to say it, though.
yeah, Yeah.
Yeah.
And but I was very appreciative of going
Well,
home. I had enough of
well,
the Middle East. And then after we got done in Spain, we went to Westover Air Force Base,
okay.
and we refueled. And we were sitting there on the plane, and a full bird colonel from the Air Force gets on the plane, and there's maybe 50 of us on the plane,
Hmm.
and he gets on the plane, he starts screaming and hollering, "All you dumbass Marines, get off of my plane, blah, blah, blah." So we're like, okay, did somebody bring back something they shouldn't have brought back, or
Oh
what's going
yeah.
on? And so we're in formation, and they march us over to this huge hangar, and the hangar opens up,
Hmm.
and Vietnam veterans come out, and they welcomed us home.
No kidding. Wow.
And they did that for everybody that came through there.
Wow.
And so we were told to fall out and fall into the hangar, and they threw us a party.
Wow.
So we had some beverages and hot dogs and hamburgers and potato salad, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And we had a great time. And we were
Hmm.
there maybe in the hangar an hour or so. And then the plane was refueled, and we got back on the plane and headed home. But they
Wow.
did a great thing there at Westover.
Hmm. And that
Because
was, you said there was all Vietnam vets that did it too,
yep.
which is awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, because
Well, they didn't receive a good welcome when they got home.
absolutely. Yeah.
And I I my I had family in Vietnam, and I
Hmm.
get a little emotional about it because they were treated like crap.
Oh
So,
yeah.
and
Agreed. Yeah.
but they weren't bitter. They welcomed us home, and uh,
Yeah. That's awesome.
yeah, yeah,
It's good to see or hear about things like that. That I don't know, that makes your heart warm if
yes,
you know what I
yes.
mean. So,
And then we got back on the plane and went to Norton Air Force Base, and then
hmm.
so I guess they called him and told him we were at Norton, and then all the wives or whatever got a phone call, and they said, "Oh, they're coming in. They'll be here in whatever time." So they
Yeah.
they they met us at the bus, and but then we had a parade shortly after that, after getting home through 29
Hmm.
Palms out in town.
Yeah.
Uh, but I think I sat in the tub for at least a week trying to get the sand off of me, and all that damn. Well, we went through the oil well fires.
Yeah.
Everything was covered in oil and
Hmm.
soot, and at times you couldn't tell who was who because we all looked like slimy blob monsters,
Oh
and
yeah.
we were in the camouflage NBC suits, and we were just covered from head to toe in that crap. And
Wow.
so I just well, I smoked back then, and so I just sat in a tub with uh, some smokes and just sat there and soaked, trying to get clean. So
Oh man.
it was good.
Yeah. As it should be. That's what you need to do after you get home. Soak in a tub. Nothing
Yeah,
wrong with that.
yeah. Well, that's what I did. I just felt like I couldn't get the stuff off of me. I mean, I
Yeah.
was clean, but I just felt like I just felt ugh.
Yeah.
Just
It
felt
just felt like it was still there. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Wow. All right. So how much time did you spend there in 29 Palms after that?
Uh, well, we had transitioned. Well, I was there for a year and a half, I
Okay.
guess. After that, um, and then we transitioned to the M1A1, which was
Hmm.
like going from a Model T to a Corvette, and it was like night and day. Those things were so fast and so much faster, so much more powerful, um, and a lot smoother ride. Uh,
Right.
they could reach out farther and touch you. They had the laser rangefinder, the night sights, the thermal imaging system.
Mm-hmm.
We in fact we would sit on the tank ramp, and we would turn on the thermals, and we would track the cars going up and down the main strip with our gun
Oh,
tubes.
wow.
So that way we could practice,
Huh.
and they didn't know it, but we were pointing them at them, and so but it was good practice for us, and it
Yeah.
didn't cost us anything.
Right. Yeah.
It didn't cost the government any extra money for practice and tracking targets. So
Wow. That's pretty cool. Now, was there a big learning curve when you switched over, or was it all pretty familiar?
um, well, everything was different. It was because in the old M60 tanks, you had like a honeycomb system for your rounds. It was just a
Mm-hmm.
handle, and then the round would slide out, and you throw it in the gun tube. Well,
Yeah.
there was like a blast door that you had to open up and then get the round out of the honeycomb. So it was a much safer uh, vehicle that way. So if
I
something
see.
hit
Yeah.
like the main gun rounds, that compartment, it would blow out the hatch on the top instead of
Oh,
blowing into
wow.
the vehicle. Um, but we had to learn all about the engine, the transmission,
Mm-hmm.
the track maintenance, what we needed to do for gunnery. Uh, the weapon, the machine guns on the tanks were different. The main gun
Mm-hmm.
was a bit different. Uh, still sort of the same. You put big round in the hole, but
Yeah.
you had to learn how to like fix it. You had to learn how to do maintenance on it. So it was going. You had an idea because I was on tanks for a while, but
Mm-hmm.
you had to just learn how to like push the buttons.
Right.
Um, and it was a bit of a curve.
Hmm. Interesting. So I imagine the rest of that time you spent doing some training exercises, trying to get familiar with it, those types of things.
Oh
The
yes,
rest of that year and a half.
yeah. Well, because I when we got back, the senior sergeant in our section, he got out and or moved on. I don't know if he got out for sure, but my new I went to Hotel 5-1, and my new wingman, Sergeant Tate, come on, and so we would take the tanks out of the tank ramp and go out and just train with the two tanks, and we would practice like hiding from each other and looking for each other, and
Oh,
they they
wow.
they would send us out as guinea pigs, and we had to put the cami nets up, which I hate. There's no reason in the world to have a damn cami net. They don't work. And they would send us out, and they would have fast movers, the jets and the helicopters come look for us.
Oh, okay.
Well, they found us every damn time. Uh, and you had the fast mover going over, and he's waving his wings at us when he's going over. It's the cami nets were they didn't work. They were then they stuck on everything. I don't know if you had to do cami nets on
Oh,
the
yeah,
vehicle,
they're a pain in the butt.
but they stick on everything. They get caught on everything, and when we had at 29 Palms, you might be able to blend in a little bit because not everything's exactly flat. So
Right.
you might, if you could back into a place, you could put your cami net up over. Maybe, just maybe, you could hide a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But when we every time we stopped in Kuwait or Saudi Arabia, when we weren't
Right.
getting when the show wasn't going on, we had to put up cami nets.
Mm-hmm.
Well, everything's flat. There were no hills. It's
Right.
flat and brown. There, we're putting up a cami net. You don't think that would be a dead giveaway? So I never saw a purpose in that. And then when we'd get sandstorms over there, that just made things worse because you couldn't see, and now you're trying to dodge the cami net and get around that. And that just made it so much worse. And you couldn't see nothing at times with the sandstorms.
Right.
Uh, And
Holy cow.
I forgot how much it hurt when it was hitting you in the face or your hands. And so we always had to wear goggles just so you could try to get from here to there. If not,
Mm-hmm.
you couldn't walk around outside without some sort of eye protection.
Right. Holy cow.
But we were there a year and a half, and my wife was getting out, and
Okay.
I was willing to reenlist, but uh, they didn't want to give me anything I would have thought was fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured, well, if I'm going to do this, I want to have fun. And so we decided to get out, and I got home, and here the Army Reserve had the same job that I just left.
Right.
And in 1992, $500 was a lot different than it is today.
Oh yeah.
So I got a $500 bonus, and I just had to change the name tape on my camis. I kept the same camis. And,
Oh, that's convenient. Yeah.
yeah. Well, when I first went in, we didn't have name tapes.
Mm.
So, but I guess when I was at 29 Palms, we had to put name tapes on our uniforms.
Okay.
And we're thinking, well, why the hell do we want to look like the Army? That's what the Army does.
Right.
But that's what they went to. And so I just had to change the one name tape from U.S. Marines to U.S. Army.
Right.
And so I did that for 4 years, and I went to a good unit. I found out later the reason they wouldn't let me reenlist for tanks is because they were eliminating 3rd Tank Battalion.
Oh, wow.
Within a year after I got out, they eliminated the Tank Battalion.
Holy
So that's
cow.
why I wasn't allowed to reenlist for tanks, because they knew they were going to have too many tankers and not enough tanks. And then, well, I found out that after.
Yeah.
I didn't know that at the time. But I joined an Army Reserve unit in Pennsylvania. It was a 6th of the 68th Armor,
Okay.
Alpha Company, and it felt good.
Mm-hmm.
They were, I'm sure not all units in the reserves are that way, but they trained hard. They went places. They did things. They did things the right way.
Mm-hmm.
It felt good. It felt like this was a good place to be.
Yeah.
But we would go to Fort Knox for a weekend drill.
Mm-hmm.
We would go to Fort Indiantown Gap, and it'd be snowing or raining or whatever. We'd be out in the field.
Yeah.
And at times we were the only unit out in the field, and it's miserable out there.
Mm-hmm.
But what better time to train?
Yeah.
Because
if you can do it when you're miserable, then you can do it when it's not miserable.
Well, it's you have to be able to do it in those conditions, because
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to have a bright, sunny 75-degree day everywhere you might go.
Right.
You got to be able to do it in bad conditions. So like when we were at the Gap, we'd be the only ones out in the field at times. And
wow.
The base commander would be calling, "Hey, what are you guys doing out there?" "Well, we're training, sir." And we wouldn't come back until it was time to come back.
Wow.
At the end of the weekend.
Right.
But that was good training.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said you were in the reserves for 4 years.
Yeah.
And then now, did you go like deployments or anything with them, or?
Not well, this was back before 9/11.
Right.
So I didn't deploy. I mean, we went training places to train, but we didn't leave the continental United States.
Gotcha.
And then they eventually eliminated. That was 95 or 96. I think 96, because they were still continuing to cut the military. They cut my brigade and my battalion. My brigade was the 157th Infantry Brigade, so they cut that, and the 6th to 68th was part of that, a mech infantry brigade.
Right.
But we all had to find another home. So my choice was I was an MP for about a year or so,
Oh, wow.
uh, and I hated it. I mean, that job might have suited somebody. I really hated it, but we weren't like regular like an MP at the gate or
Right.
driving around in a cop car. We were the MPs that were like took control of enemy of prisoners of war.
Oh, yeah,
That
yeah,
type
yeah.
of MP. Well, when you don't have any prisoners of war, there's really not a whole lot to do. So we didn't, and we didn't do anything. We didn't go anywhere. We just were in the classroom or
Uh,
hanging out at the reserve center. And I'm like, you know, this is boring. And
yeah,
I figure if I'm going to do this, I want to have fun. And I wasn't having fun anymore.
right.
And my day job, I work in the printing industry, was taking off. I was making more and more money. I was moving up,
Yeah.
and so I decided to get out. Uh,
Okay.
and I guess a couple years later, I tried it. They had the National Guard here in Pennsylvania had a try it for a year thing.
Hmm.
So I went in back in for a year, and I went to a mechanized infantry unit in Westchester, Pennsylvania. And I did it for a year, and I'm like, yeah, this isn't for me anymore. My knees are killing me, and I can't be running around like this anymore. It hurts too much.
Yeah.
And I, with the kids and the wife and the job, it just wasn't for me anymore. But I still think
Yeah.
about it every day. I still talk to guys that I was with in the Marine Corps and guys that I hang out with in the Marine Corps League. I talk to
Hmm.
them every week, if not every day.
Yeah.
It's it's a good brotherhood.
Yeah.
And I
Absolutely.
guess sisterhood now too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
That's right.
when
Yeah.
I met my wife, she was in the Marine Corps. Um, I met her. A buddy of mine was from Pennsylvania, and so we'd hang out. And he knew this girl, and she knew my wife, and that's how we kind of got together.
Okay.
But back then, you didn't see WMs, or
Hmm.
I'm not even sure if they still call them WMs.
No, that
Um,
they get upset if you call them WMs now, I think. So it's
well,
female Marine or
well, I tell you, my wife takes great pride in being a woman Marine because they're the
yeah.
fewer and they're the prouder.
Yeah. It's very
So
true. Yeah, absolutely.
back then, you could go months, if days, months without ever seeing a female Marine.
Hmm.
Now I imagine there's more of them in the
Oh
service,
yeah. Yeah,
but
yeah.
you would rarely see them. And the only reason I ever was I was with second tanks. There were no women in second tanks.
Hmm.
So you might the only reason I met her is from a friend through a friend,
Hmm.
and she was in admin at the engineer school at
Yeah.
Camp Lejeune out at oh God, what's the name of that place?
Uh,
Where the engineer school was. I
yeah,
don't
I'm
remember.
trying to think of it.
Courthouse Bay. That's
Yeah,
it.
Courthouse Bay.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was thinking Point, but it's not that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. I
that's
was doing the
closer to
same
the other
thing, and
side.
it's not in Cherry Point. It was Courthouse Bay, and
Yeah.
so it's we've done pretty well. We
So so you said your daytime job, while you were in the reserves, and then even moving forward, was in printing.
yeah.
So what exactly were you doing?
Um, well, when I got out of the Marine Corps, they always told you. I imagine they still do it. There'll be people lining up to hire you with your experience and your training. And well,
Yeah.
I was on a tank for years. What can I use out here? So I applied for jobs. I applied for jobs. I seemed like I was just wasting my time. I,
Yeah.
I, I couldn't find a job anywhere. and I've had a job since I was 12. I was a paper boy. I worked at the grocery store. I always had a job. And so I found an ad in a paper and it said, entry level position, we will train. And I figured, well, I can do that. I don't care what it is. I need a paycheck. And it was the lowest job on the totem pole in the printing company. When they get done with all the printing supplies, the pots and the pans and all the pieces of equipment they use to put the ink on the paper, they send it to the washroom to get clean. That way they can read, and then you clean it, you put it on the shelf for the next job. So that was my job, cleaning the press parts. And
wow.
But I guess I did that for a couple of months, and the room was a pit. It was like, and I said to the plant manager, I said, "Do you mind if I clean this and organize it and make it mine?"
Yeah.
He said, "Yeah, go ahead." So, I painted it, I cleaned it, I organized it, and I treated it like it was my area.
Right.
And some of the pressmen who they were pretty good at what they did, and they would be a little pushy, but I'm like, this is my area, pal. I'm taking care of it. And so I put them in their place a little bit, and the plant manager saw that, and I guess I was in that job for about 4 months, making $200 a week. That's one of the reasons I joined the reserves, because I needed more money. A wife and a kid on the way. And so he came to me and says, "Well, would you like to learn how to run press or make the printing plates for putting the ink on the paper?" And I'm like, "Well, which one pays more?" He says, "Well, running a press." I'm like, "Well, I guess I'll do that." That was probably the worst mistake I've ever made, but I've been running a printing press ever since. So,
wow.
And I've printed everything from Tylenol, Advil, Tom Sturgis pretzels, Bachman potato chip pretzel labels.
Wow.
Just about anything you can think of, I probably printed it. A lot of stuff for Johnson and Johnson. Presently, I print for pharmaceutical companies. So the labels that are on the vials and the bottles at the hospital, behind the counter at the drugstore. So the real stuff, not like Tylenol or ibuprofen. It's like the real,
narcotic type stuff.
Yeah. And on the printing press, because it's pharmaceutical, we have to be perfect. So if there's a piece of dirt on the label that turns that 3 into an 8, say, for example, somebody can take the wrong dosage.
Yeah.
So on the end of my machine, I have a $70,000 computer imaging system that looks at every label that goes by.
Wow.
And make sure everything is where it's supposed to be and everything's there. And then at the end of the roll, I cut off a sheet and I give it to quality control. And then they have to inspect every sheet, because a lawsuit could be millions and millions of dollars if somebody takes the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So we have multiple checks to make sure we're right. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer to get the job done, but you have to make sure it's perfect.
Right. Wow. That's incredible. And you've been doing that ever since, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. And do you enjoy doing that?
I do. In my previous profession, I got to blow up things. Now I get to make things. So
right.
Yeah. And my wife hates going to the grocery store with me because I'm looking at the labels.
Oh.
And so I'm like looking how they make them. And so she won't go to the grocery store with me anymore. I used to work for a company that made a lot of stuff for Unilever. So they have Unilever has a ton of different products. So a lot of the products that I printed for were on the store shelves. So I would sit there and I would look at them. I'm like, oh, I made that one, or my buddy made that one, and she would just like walk away from me.
You're just showing pride in your work, and she's
Yeah,
just walking away.
yeah. Well, because I would sit there and I would start to tell her how they made it and how they produced it. She's like, I don't care. Just put it in the cart.
Just put it in the cart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, that's good. Well, hey, thanks for coming on and doing this. I truly appreciate it. It's I don't know. I had a good time. Hopefully, you did.
I did. I enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, is there anything that you would like to, like maybe we missed or something you want to talk about, for the listeners?
Well, if you're a Marine and you still want that camaraderie, the Marine Corps League is a good place to start. Years ago, my wife and I joined the league. But when our kids got a little older, sports and everything, so we left the league for a while because life, kids were more important. So when the kids got older, they kind of went on their way. We went back to the league, and we've been back probably since 2019, 2018.
Oh wow. Okay.
And, we've started going to the national conventions, and we had a great time. Dallas was a good time. We got to see our friends. You get to meet people from all over the country, hang out, tell some stories, laugh at one another, bust each other stones like we did when we were in the Marine Corps.
That's right.
And it's a good time. And the Marine Corps League is all about helping others and charity. This past convention, we just donated $100,000 to the Children's Hospital, and through the military order, the Devil Dogs, which is the Fun and Honor Society of the Marine Corps League, which is where I have way more fun than I should be allowed. And it's a great time, great people. And we also donated $10,000 to a no-kill shelter down there, plus hundreds of pounds of dog and cat food.
Wow.
And I like to think of the Marine Corps League as a veterans group that helps veterans in need. We do a lot with Toys for Tots, also college scholarships for local kids. So if you're looking for something, that might be a place to start.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't preach enough good things about the Marine Corps League. So they do some awesome stuff.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, hey, at the end of the podcast, I always have a couple of questions that I ask everybody. Are you game for that?
Sure.
All right. Let's start with this one. What is your proudest military moment?
Well, I guess when we got back to Saudi Arabia, we actually got on an Army boat, and we floated the tanks down because we had the older tanks, and we landed at the port, and we got up on the hardball after getting off the boat, and we were going past all these units, like hospital units and everything, and all the people all the soldiers, sailors, Marines, well, we weren't sure what all they were, but they would come out and they were by the road. And back then you had our Arsenio Hall did that thing like this.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, they all came out from underneath the tents and they were lining the roads and they were doing that. Felt pretty damn good.
Yeah, absolutely. That's cool. All right. What's your most embarrassing military moment?
Oh wow. I got a speeding ticket one time at Camp Lejeune, and I had to, because I was late for formation, so I was going a little fast. and I didn't realize it. I was going a little fast, and MP pulled me over, gave me a ticket, and I had to go to the officer in charge of the MPs. I had to report to him, and
Right.
he took away my driving privileges for 6 months, and
Oh, wow.
he was reading me the riot act, and I had it was funny, but I had to I told him, now, well, that's fine, sir. I understand, but in 2 days I'm being deployed to Camp Fuji for 6 months, so it doesn't really apply to me. And then, and he ripped me a new one after that. It wasn't nothing he could do, but
Yeah.
that was probably embarrassing. Having to go to him and getting dressed down like that. I was wrong. I admit it, but that was probably it.
Holy cow. That's a good one. All right. If you could be one military leader for a day, who would that be?
Oh, if I could be one military leader for a day. Well, the guy had an awfully hard job, uh, but I don't know, Patton probably because of the
Ooh.
tanks.
Yeah.
I,
Oh, yeah.
I like being on the tanks. My father-in-law was a World War II vet. He
Hmm.
served under Patton, and just if I could be in and just not necessarily be him, but be around and watch him and listen to
Right.
him and see what was going on with the tanks during that time, that would be great.
Yeah. I agree. That would be pretty cool. All right. Yeah, this is an important question. In the zombie apocalypse, what would your weapon of choice be and what anthem would be playing?
Uh, well, I'd have to be on an M1 tank, uh, with plenty of ammo, and I guess they have canister rounds now. We used to have the beehive rounds in the past,
Yeah.
but I'd have a boom box playing some ACDC or some Led Zeppelin, uh,
Nice.
probably Thunderstruck
Ooh,
from
yeah, that's a good one.
from ACDC. I would think that would be it.
Yeah, and it would apply with the tank. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I like it. All right, what animal best describes your time in service?
Oh, what Rottweiler?
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Uh,
right.
well, I well when I was a pup, I didn't know anything, and the older I got, the more I learned, and um, sometimes you had to be aggressive. Sometimes you just had to kind of go with the flow.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. All right. Knowing what you know now, would you do it all over again?
Absolutely. I I I had some bad days, but most of them were good, and I got to meet a lot of people. I wouldn't have met my wife. We wouldn't have had our kids. Um, yeah, I definitely would have done it again.
Yeah. All right. Do you have any words of wisdom or anything you want to leave the listeners with? I know I asked you that once already, but if there's anything else, now is a good opportunity.
Um, if you're a younger Marine, use everything you can that they provide to you to your advantage. Go to school, learn. I didn't, but I went to work right away. I don't regret not going to college, but take advantage of what they offer you. That's the only thing I guess that's it. I guess.
All right. Awesome. Hey, Chris, thanks for doing this. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
I've had a blast, and I
Yep.
know you said you did. So
Absolutely.
tell everybody how easy this is, and tell everybody, encourage all the veterans to do this.
I will. I will.
All right, awesome. Well, I always close out talking about veteran suicide. So, to all the listeners out there, if you're struggling, need help, anything like that, don't forget the VA has some great resources. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can always text 838-255, or you can go to veteranscrisisline.net and click on that chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life lost is one too many. I care about you. Chris cares about you. The whole veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, reach out to the buddies you served with, ask them how they're doing. And if they need a helping hand, please give it to them. All right, Chris, one last time. Thank you very much.
Thank
To
you.
all the listeners, stay motivated, change your socks.